Sit up straight now.
I know, that's what Pauline just said. Now I'm showing off my hard nipples.
Dang.
Right there.
Dude.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
How are we doing?
Are we on? Are we good to go?
We are
Says
good,
live.
man.
How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing out there? We on? All right. Just double checking to make sure we got something going here. Folks, let me know if we're out there. All right, so there's a bit of a delay on this side of town. What's happening, folks? I want to welcome everybody to Mom and Papa Joe's first live stream. Let me be upfront with you. This is going to be on-the-job training. I'm no pro at running something like this. I try to play around with this streaming site to make sure we got everything locked in. I've got 4 awesome guests, and I chose these guys because they're some of my closest friends. They're some of the guys that got me in the competition barbecue, helped me along the way. We're still pretty close. We live in close vicinity to each other. We hang out as often as we can, even with COVID. We tend to cook every cook-off together. And I just thought that this would be the group to start this first live stream with. So real quick, man, let's go through and just do a little bit of introduction as to who we have on screen. Let's start with leftovers.
Hi, I'm Brian Kemker. I've been cooking since 2008. Did my first competition, just kind of on a whim. Kind of got hooked after that. Started meeting people and hanging out, and just kind of got addicted to it. So met these guys at various competitions. I think I met Darwin first, CJ and Kirby, Kevin and Tom along the way. Me and Tom met at the Buxton Barbecue when they blamed him for running over the electrical thing. So that's another story behind that. So it's been fun along the way. We've had a good time.
I had to snitch, man. I wasn't going to pay $1,000 for that.
I don't think Tom even had a pop-up tent there. He was just cooking on the table and his pit, and it was cold that weekend too. It was raining. So,
all right.
My first go ahead.
No.
Oh, my first competition was it was a Lavernia competition. It was a huge one. I didn't know anything about it. My boss at work just said, "Hey, you're gonna enter y'all in a barbecue competition." And I've been cooking at home, bringing some stuff, and I thought I had good chicken and ribs and brisket. You just never know. And out of 103 or 4 teams, when they started calling awards, we listened to chicken and ribs, and then after that, we didn't even care because we didn't think we had a shot. But my first competition with 103 teams, we got a 7th place brisket, and after that, has been doing them ever since. And I go back and look at them pictures of that meat, and I just can't believe it. But we've come a long way since then.
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
All right, I'm seeing some familiar faces starting to jump into the room. I appreciate it, guys. Carl from New Orleans. Roger, what's up? John, Carlos, Tony, my man. Good to have you guys. Let's hit up Kevin Knight, Smoking Nights.
How many?
I'm Kevin Knight with Smoking Nights Barbecue. Just like Brian, I met these guys along the way. We've all become really close friends and even mentor. And CJ and Darwin, they've helped me along the way. And I'm a student of CJ's. But our first competition we ever did is kind of go big or go home. We did the San Antonio Rodeo, thinking that would just be the big one to start off with over 300 teams. And we got a 16th place final table bean, and you thought we would have owned the place. We thought we were on the right track. And the next day, I set my pit on fire and did a little bit of everything. So But we've been cooking for, I guess, going on 8 years now. We enjoy it, and the competition's great, but the camaraderie with our family and our barbecue family is what's most important. And these guys on the screen are a big part of it for us. So, but we really enjoy what we're doing, and hopefully we can get out and start doing more when COVID eases up. But funny story about Tom, when I met him, I actually won a generator in a raffle.
Everybody's got a funny story about Tom.
Yeah. Tom quickly came over to buy it from me, so that's the reason why he doesn't have that loud generator anymore in competitions. You can thank me for it.
Lifesaver.
No, it's the competition barbecue world's really good, and like CJ even told us earlier, the backyard guys it's kind of where we all got started, and we thought we were really good, and we wanted to take it on the road, and we've all watched guys. It's kind of where we all got started, and we thought we. Sorry, the Pitmaster shows on TV, really got me started.
Yep.
So. That's probably where a lot of us got started, and you just start tinkering and practicing. But like most, I've probably run $10,000 worth of briskets before I learned how to cook one. So, looking forward to this year. So.
Awesome. And we got Tom.
Hey, fellas. Tom.
Stupid beer.
Smoking onions. Stupid beer. In 2014 was our first competition. Been practicing a few years before that, but I never had a rig, and we got that income tax money. Brenda bought me a first one, and that's where it all started. Of course, I went to the heart, smoking on the reel, the first cook-off. Not knowing anything, missed the fajita. Turn in beer, drank too much, but it's been a hell of a ride. 7 years, and then I met you guys along the way. And, this barbecue familia, man, this is so. So yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. And finally, the Giant.
Can you hear me through these?
The legend.
Yeah, we got you.
You got me now? All right, good.
Yeah.
So I got my start cooking with Texas pepper jelly, Craig Sherry, I met him back in 2006. And in 2007, my wife suggested that I join his team, which quite surprised me, but I approached him about it, and he seemed receptive. So that's how we started, and we cooked about 40 competitions together. And then in 2009, we hit the San Antonio Rodeo, and after that, he recommended that I go out on my own. I guess I was wanting a little bit too much influence. So I got a pit and went out on my own, and Craig and I are still very close. And my wife and I have cooked 200 competitions together since we started, and our last one was San Antonio Rodeo a couple of years back. And the reason I retired was because I got this job working nights on the weekend, and that was that. It was either work or cook barbecue and starve, So, and over the years, I met CJ and Brian. We started chatting on one of the old school barbecue forums, Texas Barbecue Rub. And I met CJ at the Brushy Creek, in person at Brushy Creek years ago, and up near Round Rock. And Brian, I met, also knew his cousin Mike, and we met at a competition that was at
Chili.
Oh, was it Chili? I couldn't remember. Yeah. And Kevin and Tom, like so many other barbecue families that I have, I don't remember the first time meeting them. It just seems like I've always known them. I just cannot put my finger on when it was the first time. And like so many people that I've, in our barbecue family, they've always been there. It just seems like you guys have always been around. And I really couldn't put my finger on the first time we met, but we really had a terrific and magical group. We have such fun together when we were cooking. And I don't know that I'll ever do competition barbecue again, but I sure did enjoy all the times we did.
Well, awesome, man. Guys, gals, let me tell you, these are some serious cooks right here. All these guys are awesome cooks. I remember coming up, Mom and Papa Joe's, the wife and I, we created our team in 2012. And man, we took our lump for a little bit before we started getting some consistent walks. And during that time, one of the guys that I looked up to and to this day still call a mentor is Darwin. Back in the day, Darwin was an assassin when it came to competition barbecue. I'm talking about a perennial top 3 guy at every cook-off, regardless of who's there. He's one of those people that, man, you had to keep your eye on him. You had to keep your eye on him. And I remember over the years, over the months, as I slowly started walking, catching up to him. And I told him, I said, Z, I'm coming after you. And he said, I can see that. I can see that. But I will tell you, with a lot of whiskey and some cognac, man, I picked his brain. I picked his brain over the years. That liquor tends to loosen things up a little bit. And he might have given me more than he thought that he did. He's definitely one of my mentors. What's up, James? What's up, CJ Bean? Hey, John. Yes, we're all from Texas, man. We all live within 30 minutes of each other right here in San Antonio. We've got some questions that we're going to get into real quick. Guys and gals, those of you out there, the sky's the limit. You can ask anything related to barbecue, man. It doesn't have to be competition. If you're in the comps and you want to ask a comp question, absolutely, feel free. If you're a backyard guy and you're looking to kick your backyard barbecue up, ask the questions. We're here for you, man. We want some good back and forth. If you've got some good info you want to share, absolutely. Let me know, man. I'll bring you on screen and we'll make that happen. One of the first questions I saw was from Kevin Staggs. What was my favorite thing to cook? I will tell you, right now in the midst of COVID, doing much more of my cooking from home, my favorite thing to cook right now at home is beef ribs. I saw my buddy CJ Bean today cook some nice beef ribs, and I kind of wish I had done something today. Anybody else? What's your favorite thing to cook in the house?
I like cooking brisket. Yeah.
Yeah, brisket.
I like cooking brisket. That's always been I don't know why, but it's always come easy for me. And a lot of people, that's their thorn in their side, but I've always enjoyed cooking it. And that's my favorite thing to cook on a competition at home. Man, we cook anything. We'll fire up the Traeger or the Gateway, anything. We'll cook wings, we'll cook pork chops. I love to watch the boys cook. That's something that I enjoy. But brisket for competitions, and at home, it's anything goes.
It's Texas, so it's always going to be brisket for competition, it seems like. But at home, we've been doing a lot of chicken wings, and not even to plug that fool, but I actually did CJ's recipe for that Japanese sauce on some wings.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, yeah. It's Asian. It's not Japanese.
He said Japanese.
I think he stole that from HEB.
Some wings. It's really good on some wings. So we've been doing a lot of those at home. But it's a good recipe. Yeah.
You didn't even give me credit for that. I threw that to you. That was like a softball.
Hey, these guys do give me some ideas about things to cook, man. Videos. Matter of fact, the next one is going to be Kevin is going to be pastrami. I'm doing brisket pastrami. Yeah, your idea. So yes, sir.
As much as he says he loves us, we've never had.
I give y'all shout outs. I give y'all shout outs all the time. Yeah. Tom,
we're still hungry though.
Oh, brisket for sure for me, man. And especially having that Traeger, that thing is awesome. Putting it overnight, you get that long smoke, and So I've been brisket definitely for me. Now I just got a deer process, my brother and I. So we got a lot of deer there that I'm gonna start.
Good stuff.
Experimenting with. And I tried one yesterday that Archie Donahue gave me some ham steaks, with gravy and a bit of onion and stuff. Oh, that was amazing. Good stuff with, good gravy. It's really good. So I'm going to have, start experimenting with some of that. Yeah, definitely brisket.
What does Santa cook?
Well, yeah, not a lot of people. Well, I don't know who's on here, but maybe they don't know me as Santa Claus.
So the best Santa ever.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing a mixed grill. Not necessarily smoked. I still barbecue, but I don't know. A lot of people don't realize that I was into cooking long before I knew about barbecue. All kinds of ethnic cooking. I've been a foodie for a long, long time. And when it comes to cooking out on live fire, I like a mixed grill. Man, I'll cook all different kinds of sausages, grilled chicken, grilled beef, grilled pork, all kinds of stuff. And that's really my favorite thing to do is do a mixed grill. And, I might go buy a duck or a goose or anything like that and throw it on the grill and just, see how it goes, and just experiment. When it comes to doing things in the house, lately I've been doing a lot of braises on the stovetop. We had CJ over the house last weekend. I did jambalaya and Creole sauce, and we had a really, really nice evening together, and that was a great.
Yeah.
That was good, right, Kevin?
My phone must have been off that day.
Yeah.
Hey, COVID, baby, COVID.
What group was that?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm still full from that.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a great.
I sent you the cookbook, Brian.
Yeah, you did.
Here's a great question from John Tompkins. Guys, how do you decide on what flavor profile you are trying to achieve at a comp? How do you decide?
Same profile. I keep the same profile everywhere I cook.
I've got an answer. I want to hear you guys first, though. How do you decide on flavor profile?
Well, I took some advice from Michelle Way one time, and she said that good food is good food no matter where you cook. So I try to make my food the best I can. And, I pretty much keep the same profile. My recipes have changed over the years, but it's more tweaking than change. But as long as you cook it, you got to cook it right, have a good flavor. If you're cooking for competitions, your flavor is going to be pretty strong. But, just you got to make good food. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, my point of view has always been, and I think a lot of you folks who know me know this, but I was a head judge at competitions for a while, and I always invited cooks and their wives or whoever wanted to help in the judging area. And if you want to know what it's like to cook and the different flavor profiles that are coming along, and you want to taste the food as it comes through, taste first place, second place, third place, to see what you're looking for, what you're aiming at, the best thing to do is to volunteer to work as a helper in the judging area. It doesn't matter what what organization, if it's Champions or IBCA. IBCA is what I was involved in. I was involved in Texas Gulf Coast Cookers First. But that's my advice. If you really want to get in touch with competition, you really need to volunteer in the judging area, because that's going to give you a bird's eye view, front row seats to what everyone is doing. And then once you taste it, then it's your responsibility as a cook to figure out how to get there. And that's the journey, and that's the fun of it.
Yep.
And all these guys that will let CJ was poking fun at me earlier about having to ply me with whiskey for information, but once you get me to talking, man, I'll tell you anything you want. You don't have to give me anything at all. I'll tell you what I think of your food, what your recipes are like, and what I do. There's a few things I keep private. I don't like to use the word secret, but private is my personal recipes when I was cooking competition. I have since been sharing everything because I probably won't do competition anymore. But that's what I would do, is get into the judging area.
I need that rib recipe.
Wait, I think when Darwin says get into the judging, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I volunteer to judge, or don't go and be a taste judge. Go volunteer to work behind the scenes. And that's what I did that with Darwin for multiple competitions. And don't just go to one judge, go to, multiple judges. I had enough volunteer hours to be a head judge, but it's not something that I was interested in. But you learn so much just by watching trays at big competitions, what hits at a big competition, what hits at a little competition. And it's kind of the same, but there's a few differences. But go volunteer to work the judging tent, not volunteer to taste judge.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right, Brian. Good point.
For us, we started off, and to this day, our bases are very similar to what we started with. But for a lot of people out there, if you really are looking for some help, CJ is one of the great guys to get a class from. I know he's going to do some online stuff. And we took his private class to just kind of give us, we were missing something, and we figured it out along with him helping us. And, from probably 4 years ago when we took his class to today, I still run the same brisket recipe to a T, and we do very well with it. So it's you find your flavor profile that works and food you like. And like Brian was saying, good food wins. It's whatever you like, and cook to your standards. Don't make a lot of changes just because you're in some certain region or area.
Exactly. For me, man, I don't think I ever set out to reach a particular flavor profile. I wanted to end up reaching something that was somewhere in the middle. Being able to draw people from the left and people from the right, and take that recipe, that flavor profile wherever. So I let my trials sort of guide the direction my flavor profiles were headed. And one of the things you got to be cognizant about, John, is that tastes tend to change. And like Kevin and Brian were saying, your recipes shouldn't have to be changed very much. As tastes change, you adjust with minute tweaks here and there, small tweaks. A little less of this, maybe a little more of that, maybe removing something completely. But I don't know if I can ever say I set out to achieve a particular flavor profile. I set out to get someplace in the middle. I didn't want to be too hot. I didn't want to be too mild, too sweet, too salty. The middle of the road barbecue will tend to do a lot better than something on the far left or far right in terms of extremes.
Wins
Hey,
every
CJ,
day.
and I know I've done this in the past, but if I go down south, to down there, region in the valley, I tend to add a couple of sticks of mesquite, just because I know that mesquite is used a lot over there. So is that something that you you do as well, or just keep your same?
Man, good questions. Early on, I used to really believe in that mesquite theory when I go down south. And after a number of years and trying it without a whole lot of success, I really came to believe that if your flavor profile, whatever profile you ended up with, if that mesquite does not complement that particular profile, it's not going to help your barbecue whatsoever. Your barbecue is probably going to be better off without that mesquite. So yes, I no longer take mesquite with me down south. I could care less. I just take my standard oak and hickory or oak and pecan, no mesquite, and it's worked for me.
Cool.
I've noticed that like some of the competitions, like back a few years ago, used to be able to go taste like the top 5 or whatever plates after they called awards, and I would always go do it. And there was a competition in Adkin, Texas, at Mesquite Hall, and the top 2, man, they tasted like on the way to the competition they cut down a mesquite tree and cooked with that green. It was so smoky and terrible. And then, but you kind of beat yourself up over it, but that's just the way some of them are. Some of them really like that heavy smoke, but the next 10 you do aren't going to be like that. So
yeah, that's why you stay in the middle.
Yeah, that's why I quit tasting it too, because you kind of question yourself. So
you got to cook your food and stick with your recipe no matter where you go, and you own it. It's your brisket recipe, it's your chicken recipe, and own it. Now, we all, well, I don't know if everyone knows Kit Polk, but I'll tell you what, that guy, he shows up at every other competition with a different barbecue pit and 6 different recipes for 4 meats. And, he kicks butt wherever he goes. And I don't know whether to believe him or not. Honestly.
He still does it.
A great cook, but he swears by that, cooking your recipe by where you're going. And if he's really capable of doing that, great, because his record will prove it. And that guy's been racking up, I don't know, grand champion after grand champion, man. He's been killing it for years.
Absolutely.
Not just a short amount of time, but not everyone can do that.
But Kit's a great cook, though. I mean, even if you have a different recipe, he still cooks it right.
He's very consistent.
Right.
Consistency is everything.
Yes, sir. Hey, we've got a great question, man, from my man James. Amen McClaimham. What's one bit of advice you would give somebody that's interested in jumping into the competition world?
Just go do it. That's the way I was entered. My boss told me, you're cooking this weekend. And I work for an elected official, and it was more for a publicity thing. But, like I said at the beginning, I've been cooking a little bit. But just go do it. I mean, small or big, don't. Just if you have something local, just sign up for it and do it. You'll learn.
I think advice would be is to start right now. Everybody's so advanced. It's start off with the class, man, because if not, you are going to waste a lot of money just trying to do this. And I mean, it could take 3 or 4 months before you can even get a walk, and you can spend $550, take a class, and get your money in the next 2 or 3 cook-offs. So I think that class is it's must. I think nowadays, we say every class, but I think that's my opinion.
The competitions have definitely evolved over the last few years, like you said, with classes. And I would say, to me, just like with any other cook, I mean, you need to learn your pit, learn all your devices, learn how the heat runs, learn how to be consistent. And then, go do a cook and see what it's like. And if it's something you like, invest in in a class. But I'll tell you, a class is going to help you at home and make your neighbors happy, as well as in a competition. So,
right.
We just cooked when we were frozen over. We cooked for our whole neighborhood, 50 people the other day, and they want to know when we're doing it again. So I told them next time it snows, we'll do it again. So about 20 years from now, we'll do it. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that that I would suggest, and if you're married, you make sure your wife is buying into it, because
100%.
I've seen more than one person, right, CJ?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be a competition barbecue cook, and 4 cook-offs later, they're selling all their gear. Oh, my wife didn't like that at all, and
Wow.
you got to be sure that your wife or your significant other, let's call it that way, they got to be buying in 100%, because this is a lifestyle. This is not just
Absolutely is.
I mean,
It's addictive.
When we were cooking 25 a year, I was coming home on a Saturday night and starting Sunday morning for the next barbecue cook the next weekend. It was all absorbing, So if you're really going to get into competition barbecue and you have a significant other, you need to make sure that they are all in. That's all I got to say.
And they get to participate.
I agree
Yes.
with that, man. I agree with that. Shoot,
I mean, these guys
6 in a row sometimes, and
yeah, absolutely.
If you're going to cook solo or on a team, because it's a difference. We've always cooked solo. And I see a lot of guys out there with 10, 15 people on a team, and they're cutting a brisket, and there's 20 people standing around their table, and that's distracting too. So if you're going to be serious, or you're just going to go out to have fun, either one is fine, but decide how you want to do it.
Man, these are some great answers. These guys are spitting some serious knowledge, guys. I could take all those answers, man, and really expand on them, because there's so much I want to say, but I don't want to hog this. Guys and gals, Stupid Bear was absolutely right. In today's competition world, things have gotten so competitive. So many cooks have taken classes with YouTube, with online classes, videos. There's just so many different opportunities for cooks to better themselves on the fairly cheap, as opposed to back in the days when there weren't a whole lot of classes, and you really had to fight that learning curve. You might have to go a year or 2 years before you really figured out things. Nowadays, a class here, and yes, I do have a class. I'm not going to push that class per se, but yes, I do think that a class will cut that learning curve. There are plenty of people out there giving classes. Do I want you to take my class? Absolutely. But there are plenty of people out there taking classes. I guarantee you that a class will help cut that learning curve in half. Second thing I want to add to the new cook is to temper your expectations.
Yes.
Temper your expectations. I don't care
Even
what
as an
family
experience.
I don't care what family tells you in the backyard. Oh, you're a god in this backyard. Your wieners are banging. Right? Hey, competition is a totally different animal. You go to your first competition, temper your expectations, and use it as a learning experience. If you're fortunate enough to get a walk or two, or even a GC, awesome. Guys and gals, it's not going to be that simple.
Well,
I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Darwin was at my first in Brushy Creek. I was cooking with a buddy, Paul Carnell, and I. First cook-off, 75 teams. And all I wanted was just a little bit of something telling me that we could hang with the rest of these experienced cooks. What do you know? We get a 6th place rib and a 9th place brisket. Guys, I was on top of the world. First competition. And in my head, I knew this was going to be a piece of cake. We went probably another 7 to 10 cook-offs without a walk.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, without a walk. So it's no joke.
That was my first competition. Was Livonia, over 100 teams and a 7th place brisket. Man, I thought. So we started looking at, after that. That's what hooked me. I saw one of the questions. When did you know you're a hook? And we started looking. I started finding out what IBCA was all about. I didn't even know what it was. And we started looking for all the small competitions, 10, 15 teams. And that was a mistake. I mean, you learn from doing better. Our first competition out of 100 teams, we got 7th brisket, and I thought, oh, here we go. If I can find a small competition, I'm in. But it didn't work like that. It was probably just a fluke, but that's how you learn.
And our second ever cook-off, we had just got a brand new pit maker pit. We cooked on it once. We hit an 8th place brisket and a 4th place rib, and Ernest Cervantes was there. I was like, man, there's that guy on Chopped, babe, and we just beat him in ribs. I was like, this is going to be easy. We got this made. And like CJ said, I think we went 6 months sitting in our chair after that until we finally got another call. So expectation is everything.
I've seen grown men cry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They didn't get you know what I'm talking about, CJ.
Oh yeah.
Because expectations were too high, and I'm like, wow,
Exactly. All right, guys. Here's another one from Tony. Tony is a Cajun. Hey, Tony does a lot of our Cajun stuff. I'm gonna talk to Tony a little bit. What's the best cook? What's the best pit to cook on in the competition? What do y'all use?
Man.
We all pretty much know the answer here.
5 different answers.
Yeah, there will be 5 different answers, and they will all circle around and end up in the same place.
Yep.
My favorite food came off my gator pit. I did better in competitions with my Jambo.
We just picked up our 3rd pit maker sniper this last weekend, and we think it's the best ever. It's offset cooker and it's fully insulated, and to us, it's the best one.
I got a offset cook that was made for me from a dude in Tile, Texas. I think really, honestly, man, if you learn your pit, I've seen Ernest win a GC with a 55-gallon barrel from HEB. So really, I think what it is learning your pit. I don't care what it is, what kind of pit you have, you learn it, and man, it'll work for you as good as honestly, as any other pit. I've had a big propane gallon that I got rid of, and now I went to the smaller one, and it worked both the same.
I think Tom hit the nail on the head because, I've run gator pits, backyard pit, which I still have, in my big gator pit that I pulled around a competition all those years. I did great on them, and I love those pits, and I'll probably always have one. Jacob, I saw you.
Yeah, he's the best cook of all of us that just walked in the room.
But I have also run, I got a call from Ernest one day. It was a Friday. I was at the gas station with my pit in the back of my truck, and he called me and said, hey, where are you going to cook this weekend? And I said, well, I was going to head up north near Austin. I forget the name of that cook-off, and it was like 112 degrees there. And I said, but I decided not to go there. Where do you want to? He was on his way back from Corpus, and we decided to hit Victoria together. And he was in between pits, so to speak, his big pits. And he showed up with a Weber and a 55-gallon drum. Grand champion right there. And, it just doesn't matter. Talent is talent. He was comfortable with those pits because that's what he grew up on. That's what he cut his teeth on. But he could also cook on any other pit he ever had, a Jambo, or what's the name of that really fancy one he had that was all chromed out? I don't remember the name of that thing.
JP, I think. JP.
Yeah, that JP. But he's had all kinds of pits, and he's done well on all of them because he got to know the pit. So Tom hit the nail on the head. Cook with what you've got. If it'll hold the airflow and not leak air too much, you can learn how to cook on it. But you've got to be a student of the game.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Guys, I don't know that there's a best pit to cook on in competition. Like everybody else has said, it's all about your knowledge of that pit. Mm-hmm. You can work wonders with an ugly drum, with a Weber if you absolutely know what you're doing and your recipes are top notch. So it's not so much about the pit as it is about that pit master, his recipes, and his execution. So absolutely. Tony, here's a great question from the dog father. I'm telling you, this man right here, man, is a YouTube legend. I want to be with him in a couple of years after I get my YouTube act together. What's up, bro? What was the moment for you guys that let you know that competition cooking is what you wanted to do?
For us, it was our very first one. We were at the San Antonio Rodeo, and we didn't know anybody but our neighbors. And after we left that weekend, we probably had 30 new friends. And for us,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like, this is the environment we want to be in. These are people we like to hang out with. Hell, they helped me put my pit out when it caught it on fire. And that was, and that was the moment that I knew, we knew that, this is what we wanted to do. And, hell, that was 8 years ago. And we're going to do it for as long as we can. And we just enjoy it, regardless of the success that we may have. I mean, we know we have lifelong friends. These guys on the screen are lifelong friends if we decide not to ever cook again.
Yep.
I'm coming.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Kevin, that's correct, man. It's first time cooking off and meeting a whole bunch of people, and that's what got it for me. It's the barbecue familia and just everybody coming together, as one big family, man. That's what got it.
Yep.
For me, it was my first walk. The feeling that sixth place rib call gave me, that high. And again, we were one of the few blacks at that competition. And I remember the awards ceremony. We were standing in the very back in front of a massive stage with a band on it, and just a throng of people in front of us. And when they call us for that sixth place walk, I'm telling you, the cartwheels and the backflips that I did walking to that stage, I know those people looked at me like, this black dude is crazy as hell. It's a sixth place brisket. But guys, it just meant so much to me. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And over the years, I've always said, man, I should have known right from the start that this was going to be for me. And I should have went big instead of incrementally creeping up in terms of pits and equipment. It would have saved me some money. Yeah. But that was my store. That was where my knew I was hooked.
Yep. I started out in the backyard. I probably cooked 13 years or so in the backyard trying to figure this stuff out. And I never wanted to do competition barbecue. The whole idea of somebody judging my barbecue, just offended me. I wanted no part of that at all. And actually, it was my wife, Lauren, that really pushed me into calling Craig Sherry. It's a long story. If you ever catch me somewhere, I'll tell you the whole thing. I don't want to bore you with the whole thing now, but my first competition was just horrible. It was an Untitled Rodeo north of Houston. I hated it. And then I think it was the second one, also in Humble. It was a Paralyzed Veterans Cook-Off. Totally different. It was about 30 teams there. And that's where I discovered the friendly side, the familiar side, like Tom was saying, about how nice it is to have a group of guys that are friendly. And I think the one after that, I think it was my third competition. I went home with almost $1,000 in my pocket. And I got to tell you, that didn't hurt my my opinion of it all, But
the dollar bills always help.
But in the end, I realized, what? So this competitive nature, this cooking thing, it's not bad at all. When I realized how many good people there were in the competition arena, that's when I embraced it, you know. But it took a while. It wasn't love at first sight for me. It just took some getting used to. But in the end, you know, I was totally hooked on it. And I now have friends all over the country, really, through barbecue competitions. Whether it be from actually cooking with them or getting to know them on Facebook or the old school barbecue forums that we used to have. So yeah, that's kind of how I landed in it, and yeah, it was a great experience for us. We've moved on, but it's still the social network that I have not let go of. I'm still in contact with almost everybody that I've become friends with in the competition world.
You know, you think about that. I mean, just yesterday, I learned that you, Darwin, myself, and Chris Dean, our first grand championship was at the same event. Not the same year, of course, but the actual same event. Our first grand championships were all at the Bandera Capital, whatever rodeo.
Yeah, the Cowboy Capital.
Yeah, Cowboy Capital Rodeo.
Yeah.
I think Chris Dean won it the year before I did. He won it a couple years earlier.
Yeah, that was really something. And, you know, the funny thing was, I look back at it now, and there was a whopping 16 teams there, you know?
When you won it?
Yeah, 16. 1-6.
Right. So,
not a lot,
yeah,
right?
that doesn't count then.
I almost cried. Dude, I had to stop from crying. I was so excited to win it, you know? And yeah, and I'll tell you what, boy, 16 teams, and I got a flag and a giant banner and 5 trophies and
Yes, sir.
belt buckle, and you know, we were honored at the rodeo that night, and I felt like, you know, there were 500 teams there, but there were only 16 guys there cooking, you know.
Guys,
I had tears in my eyes my first walk.
Yeah.
hey, regardless of the amount of teams, a GC is a GC.
Oh,
A
yeah.
walk is a walk.
You still got to cook it.
Take him when you can get him.
Yep.
Sometimes they're far and few in between. All right, what types of absolute disasters have you guys had at a competition? What's your worst disaster?
Oh man, my wife has cut me off from drinking really heavily or any bourbon until after brisket turn in. I totally foobarred a brisket one time, cut it the wrong direction. I mean, forgot to sauce it, forgot to do all kinds of stuff. And it's because I had a little bit too much bourbon starting at about 10 or 11 in the morning. And when 3 o'clock rolled around, I was in no shape to be cutting a brisket. So controlling my alcohol has saved me from many disasters after that. So,
Yeah,
I think
same here. Same here with the drinking, man. And I've had a couple of even Brian saved me one time. Heading for high stakes, stayed out with a worm till about 3 or 4, and went home almost. I mean, not home, but back to the camp, and I couldn't wake up, man. Brenda went over there. Brian, cut him. And
we've all done it. Don't just say Brian's done it. We've all done it.
Are you talking to
baby?
Did you
I looked at it.
Worm's place?
Yeah,
That's a good.
Don't ever go to the Worms camp if you're cooking.
Wherever the worms are, you got to get like on the opposite side. You can go visit.
Man,
But,
I woke up, my brisket, and like, man, Brenda's like, that brisket is on. I already put it on. Brian came, help me, start the fire. So then that and then another thing is make sure, you're cooking a Weber, make sure that you have, enough fuel in there to cook yours, because what we did, a buddy of mine, John Segura, I'm sure he's watching, but we didn't have enough fire, and so I had to pull my chickens out, so he can add more fuel, and bam, those things went on the floor, and so yeah, I'm sure I got more. Those are two that you gotta.
Hey, that point Tom made about making sure you got enough fire, he's dead serious on that.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so serious that he's made sure he's had fire in his pit leaving a competition. I'm talking fire, charcoal burning, leaving a competition. So he's dead serious about that.
Hey man, I gotta get ready for next week.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just keep it going. Just warm it
Keep
up.
it going.
You know, CJ and I cooked that. What was the name of that one we did up near Austin, CJ? That was some fireman's cook-off.
And you put the bag inside the
Yeah.
firebox and there was fire.
Yeah,
You remember that one?
I can't remember the name of the event.
So I was doing my brisket, you know, and right about the time that I should have pulled it off, I got a phone call from my wife, and that she and my brother were up at the gate and they wanted their wristbands. So I walk on up there, get them their wristbands, come on down, and my wife is asking me, how'd the chicken turn out? How'd the ribs turn out? You know, let me taste the chicken. I got all distracted. Well, all of a sudden, an hour later, I realized, oh man, I didn't pull my brisket off.
Whoop.
When I opened that thing up and tried to cut it, that brisket just collapsed. It was just like, turned out like a meatloaf. It was just horrible. And it was all, oh man, it was because of distraction. So if you can keep your distractions down, and no matter what they are, if it's drinking, guests, you arguing with your old lady or your old man or whatever, or having to deal with, you know, your kids running around acting like a bunch of wild banshees, you know, you just got to focus on what you're doing, because it's the distractions, no matter what they are, that are going to kill you.
I know we always tell people, our guests, if we have them, is to don't come till after 3 o'clock, because that's after brisket usually.
Yeah. And then, you know, you could always have one of your kids jump off the stage and break his arm right in the middle of turning.
I will tell you, for me, my two worst moments at a cook-off, we created our team in 2012, and in 2013, we decided to go to the American Royale, and still a young cook, not knowing a whole lot. I've never been afraid of competition. I thought this would be an awesome experience. We go to the American Royale, and I get called up on Friday making the boxes, the greens, and everything else. And I missed the cook's meeting. And as people are coming back from the cook's meeting, I ask, you know, hey, anything I should know? This, that, the other. And everybody's like, have you cooked before? And I was like, yeah, I cooked before. Same old, same old. Boom. I think I'm in the mix. The next day, Saturday, the open, or not, it's the invitation. We get chicken turned in just fine. The ribs were a little too high with the greens. The box wouldn't close. So we had to take some time to rearrange things. We got it back in there. And my wife leaves the camp with our bag, with our box. Give or take with 7 minutes left in the window, or so we thought. All of a sudden, a couple of minutes later, she comes back, and she's a little upset. And she kind of throws the pizza carrier with our box in it, and I hear a thud, so it's still heavy. And I'm like, what's up? She said, we missed turning. And I'm thinking to myself, you left here time. No, it's a 10-minute window, and I've been accustomed to a 20-minute window. So we got lucky enough during the chicken turn-in, but unfortunately, we did not make the rib turn. So for me, that is my absolute worst moment. Because if you miss out totally on a possible 180 points at the American Royale, you are coming in DAL, Delta Alpha Lima. And if you don't know what that is, dead ass laughs. Right? And it's just not a good look. But hey, it happens. So for me, that's my worst movie.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, not sure what that is. All right, so my boy TJ Bean. All right.
This ought to be
That's Carl. Is his name Carl?
Oh yeah, Carl Jr. Yeah, Carl
Carl,
Jr.
Carl, not
Absolutely.
so junior.
Hey, I'm gonna bring CJ in.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring CJ in.
Are you sure that's something you want to do?
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy. Lordy,
We're on
Lordy.
the topic of disasters, just saying.
Hey, Beaner, I just sent you the link. Check in.
Hey, there's chicken fried barbecue. That guy, he's on fire, man.
Oh, hey, my man Bill Purvis.
Yeah,
My man Bill Purvis
he's lighting it
is
up.
a beast. My man
yeah.
Bill Purvis, chicken fried, is a beast. All right, let's spend a couple of minutes till CJB come in. Bill, where are you?
Bill, he just won the Humboldt Rodeo, man.
Yes, he
Glad
did.
I was there.
That guy's winning everything right now, man. I'm so proud of him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he's on fire.
And his IBCA and KCBS, so that's how you know you're a good cook. You can win them both of them.
It goes back to consistency. He turns the same
So,
food in. He's
Humboldt-
consistent with it.
Humboldt has always been KCBS, Darwin. You remember? No.
No, it started out. Untitled Rodeo was IBCA. Then it became Texas Gulf Coast Barbecue Association. Then back to IBCA, and then over to KCBS. I don't know what it is now.
It's KCBS, yeah.
Yeah, it's been everything.
Hey, Bill, if you're still on, I just shot you a link, man. Hop in here real quick.
Is there any more questions out there, CJ?
Now, I don't know where Carl is. He's probably off getting some nuts or something. You know how he does.
You got a mouthful of nuts right now.
Yeah, he's out there.
And probably extra salty.
I'll tell you. I'll throw out a question. I like to hear everybody's answer. Is how do
Okay.
you select what meat you're going to use for competition? I mean, how do you select your meats?
Who want to hit that one first?
I always
Gotta be a flapper.
Sound like Ernest now.
The competition's so good now that you got to start with the best meat you can possibly afford. And my briskets have always been, the bigger competitions. I'll spend the money on a Snake River. With CJ and Darwin and Archie and everybody else living within 5 minutes of me, the HEB by my house is always shot because I work till 5. I gotta go outside. I go poach Tom's HEB.
Yeah.
Y'all stay away from my town.
But I mean, if you're serious about it, I think the important thing is to you got to spend the money. You got to start out at an advantage. And if it's buying a Snake River Farms brisket or, whatever type of, ribs or chicken, but it's quality meat is I think that's your first step, especially on a big one where there's some money on the line too.
I used to shop every day. I would hit 3-4 HEBs every day of the week, believe it or not. And I have a big freezer in my garage. And if it wasn't a beautiful rack of ribs or brisket, I wouldn't buy it. I'm not just going to buy anything, any meat they have. But when I ran across some beautiful ribs or a couple of real nice briskets, I spent the money and I put them in my freezer. I'm not a believer that you have to have it fresh and unfrozen, because I have GC'd over and over again with frozen meat. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But there were times I had 30 or 40 racks of primo ribs in my freezer and 20 briskets ready to go. And you just have to invest in it. You not just invest in the learning, invest in your ingredients, make sure you've got everything you need, and you need to cook a lot, 15, 18 cook-offs before you're really going to be competitive per year, if not more than that. I don't know what it is now. I've been out of it now for about 3 years. I don't know. I imagine it's about the same thing. But yeah, you've got to invest in good meat. And like I said, I've been all over every HEB in San Antonio before, looking for just the right rack of ribs or a chicken that was exactly 4 pounds or whatever.
That's the killer. Is finding a chicken that's between 4 and 4 1/4, and not a turkey.
Yeah.
I suggest that everybody goes to the HEB on Military and Goliath.
Yeah.
I suggest you
Leave
put the
mine
mute
alone.
button right now. Hit the mute button.
I asked the question. Not for a shameless plug, but I mean, we were blessed a few years ago to get sponsored by Heart Brand, and they provide the beef for it. So we know that every competition, we're cooking with a quality beef, going into it. But finding quality ribs and finding quality chickens is a battle. And the same thing, you go by many HEBs or Sam's Club or whatever your local grocery store is, trying to find the perfect rack for the perfect chicken.
And that's a crapshoot too when you shop online, because I've spent $220 on a brisket and you get it and you're like, what the hell's going on? And there's nothing you can do about it. So,
Man, there's nothing like being able to hand pick your own. We've all got our different specs that we look for when it comes to picking a piece of meat. We look for this, we look for that, and nothing hurts me worse than spending $175 and getting some crap, something that I would never hand pick. But that is where we are currently in this cooking thing, man. If you don't start with the best meats possible, you are behind before the competition kicks in. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, we've got Bill, chicken fried, in the mix, man.
What's up, guys?
Bill, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good.
Excellent, man. Hey, real quick, man. I don't want to hold you. I don't know what you got going, but dude, you've only been around a while, but your rise has been like a meteor, bro.
Right.
I mean, you are here, and you've come in with a bang, man. What do you think led up to this?
I think it's definitely classes, CJ. You know what I mean? It's definitely, early on, I took Phil Breeden. He gave me a shadow class.
Yeah.
Phil kind of took me under his wing and like I said, gave me a shadow class pretty early on after about 2 or 3 months of cooking, and that, just watching how he finished and being in a shadow class, I was able to, he actually granted that competition. He got a first brisket and a first rib. So just being able to, like I said, sit there one-on-one with him and take some really, really good notes. And I mean, I would go back to those notes, not so much on recipes, but just the timings of the finishing process of every step and the actual process of the finishing. Really, I think that was probably the biggest gain. Some good balanced recipes as well, but more than anything, just the timings of everything, of when to glaze, when to sauce, when to box, trying to get that hot food in there. And, obviously I've had a lot of luck too, I mean.
Oh, it definitely plays a role.
It plays a big role, So, I've been really blessed with a lot of luck. But, I went to that trailer place and I turned in what I thought was 3 good products, and I didn't get off the first table on chicken or rib.
Same here.
It's just how the game goes.
That's the game we play. Guys, you heard from Bill. how important it is today, man, to cut that learning curve with a class. And once again, not pushing my class, but any class you take will provide you with some valuable information. Will provide you with some valuable information. Bill, and what I'm not so much impressed with the IBCA that Bill is doing, but I am more impressed with that KCBS that he is just crushing.
It's been so fun to follow you, man.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm loving that KCBS too, man. I'm really, I mean, you know, I feel like, truth be told, guys, I feel like KCBS is a little bit easier than IBCA. Just because, you know, all you guys on here are great cooks, you know what I mean? But you can't really, it's hard to kind of, you know, I've overcooked my brisket in IBCA where I've had to spatula it in and it's been well overcooked. You know, you don't really get away with some of those errors in KCBS, you know, so if your mind is right, you know, and you get, and again, it's just another set of processes, you know, with getting those processes down and those touch points down. I don't know that it's any, I don't know that KCBS is any more difficult than IBCA. I almost think IBCA is a little bit harder in a sense because those judges aren't trained to look for anything. You know, anybody can win. It's you know, one day you're cooking for, you know, a retirement community. The next day you're cooking maybe for, you know, a biker gang.
I think that's easily shown by when the KCBS cooks come to Texas.
Yeah.
They don't often do very well down here.
Yeah.
I've seen it over and over again. Some do okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not talking about Houston Rodeo, but I'm talking about straight up IBCA judge cooks.
Right.
They often don't do very well because they're up against, oh, Lord have mercy.
I know. He's just getting the damn burglar in.
The dude's
the question was asked earlier about flavor profiles and stuff. Do you have the same flavor profile when you do KCBS?
I do. I cook the same rib. I cook the same brisket. You know, that first one I did was in August, Eden, Oklahoma, and I just ran my IBCA rib. I backed it off a little bit. You know, I didn't take it all the way to 212 or really try to get it to fall off the bone. I kind of backed it off around 207, 208, and I don't think, I mean, those guys don't use a lot of pepper. You know, if you look at those KCBS ribs a lot of times, they're just straight glazed. There's not very much pepper, and I ended up hitting first place rib. It was like 54 teams, and right then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna stick to my Texas profiles, and they seem to be working. You know, so far. So
you're killing it, man.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, it's been fun to follow you, man. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and I mean, on chicken and pork, I've had to kind of reteach myself some stuff. You know what I mean? But the brisket and ribs have been pretty close to the same.
What the hell was that? R2D2 came in the chat.
Yeah, R2D2.
You know it's Bean. You know it's Bean.
I don't think Bean knows he's on camera. You know?
No, I don't think so either. And I don't think those headphones will fit that.
I don't think they fit him either.
That big head is filling up the whole screen.
Bill,
Yeah. Hey,
you
real quick,
well, Bill, huh?
what are some things that both comp cooks can do as well as the backyarder can do to better their meats pre-cooking?
Trim.
It is the comp. It depends if the comp cooker, if the backyard cook, is he a comp cook or not? If you're a backyard,
I'm keeping those two separate. What are some things the comp cook can do as well as the backyard cook can do pre-cooked to make their meats better?
I think you said it earlier, Clarence. It's meat selection, picking out the right brisket. You know what I mean? Picking out the right ribs. You know, Lee and those guys all went to that double header, and you know, I was thinking about going, but when they said meat was provided, you know, there's a double header, KCBS double header. I was like, man, I don't want to drive to North Carolina and have meat provided and end up with some janked up ribs. You know, how do you shop for 20 teams somebody's going to get some messed up ribs.
Yeah, you're right.
I damn sure didn't want to go because I feel like a lot of it starts with definitely picking out your meat, and making sure you've got good marbled meat.
I think keeping records of what you do is important. I've always kept a very tight record of what I've done competition wise, and I would recommend that for a backyard cook too.
Yeah.
Get a sheet of paper in your notebook and write down backyard cook July 1st, 2021. And write down what you did and what you did right, how it came out, what you liked, what you didn't like, and keep a little diary of it. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's going to really help you realize, the next time you go cook, oh yeah, I forgot I added too much salt to that, or I got sidetracked in the backyard playing horseshoes with my buddy, or drank too much bourbon. Make a note.
Done that.
Darwin, I will tell you, I was always so impressed. I told you this in the past. I was always so impressed, man, watching you take those notes.
With the spiral notebook.
I tried it, and I wasn't disciplined enough to do it. It didn't work for me. So absolutely, that's an awesome method to utilize to better your game. Absolutely. Hey, Dina, I don't know why I've got you on here twice.
No, I'm good now. Can you hear me?
What's in CJ Bean's mouth right now?
Hey, can you hear me now?
These nuts.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can hear you. Yeah, unfortunately.
No, I just switched over. I had to switch from the laptop to my phone for some reason. I don't know. The laptop just didn't want to.
R2D2.
Hey.
What's in your mouth?
We're talking competition right now. When was the last time you did one?
November.
You knew it was coming.
Hey, let me go get my popcorn.
But you know what? Hey, since it's your show, I'm gonna be nice.
My man, that's my dog right there. Hey, folks, I know you've seen us online, man. We give each other a hard time, but that's my man. That's money right there. He can be counted on. That's money right there. Absolutely. As well as all these guys on this screen, man. These are my dogs. Hey, but the question I asked earlier about something the backyarder can do to better their game is, and I don't know how many, not a whole lot of competition folks are aware of it. Because when I bring it up at the class, some of them are kind of surprised. Aging a brisket or drying out your chicken. Many backyarders often wonder, what can we do to get that crispy skin on the grill? Guys, at home, I love I love to dry out my chicken skin in the refrigerator. 6, 12, sometimes I do 24 hours to just dry that skin out. I call it a dry brine. I put a little salt on that skin, put it in the refrigerator in the open. And all it does is just really bring the moisture out of that. That moisture is evaporating in the refrigerator cycles, dries out their skins, and it really allows your pit to crisp it up during the grilling / smoking process. Briskets, many of you guys will go to the store and you'll start flipping and bending and twisting the briskets. The brisket that bends, that hangs, is a little older than the other briskets that don't. So if you happen to find the beautiful brisket that doesn't bend, stick it in your refrigerator. 21,
I'll get it off.
28 days in that original packaging.
He said it was going to be open.
Hey,
all that does is starts to tenderize. It starts to break down and juicy. So these are some of the things for both the backwater and the competition cook to take your game to the next level.
I can tell you a story about that.
Competition brisket. I got my briskets from, usually on a competition, I'll do a Snake River Gold. and they're already aged 28 days. And don't be afraid to age it more. I mean, I'll put that thing in the refrigerator for another 30 days sometimes, and it's not going to hurt it. And just don't be afraid. It might stink a little bit, but but it's a good. You'll know the difference between a sour smell and a deep beef smell. And yeah, don't be afraid to wet age it in a cryovac package. And
Aroma versus odor.
right.
Aroma versus odor. A huge difference.
Hey, one thing with those briskets, I was in HEB one day, and this guy came up to me and said, you know how to pick a good brisket? I'm like, no, how? He picked up a select brisket and started flapping it. No marbling in it whatsoever. And, told me this is a good brisket. Had a beautiful prime right next to it. Marbling just everywhere. And he's like, this one here is a good brisket. I wouldn't touch that one. So I was like, okay, thank you. He grabbed that select for $28, and I grabbed that $32 prime, and I came home with $1,500 that weekend, from Uvalde. So it's a lot of backyard cooks don't know what to look for in a meat. They see some fat and marbling. They see fat and they run away. If they see marbling and stuff and ribs and brisket, they think it's just, that's just a lot of fat, and they run away from it. So I mean,
I'll tell you, I've seen it go all different ways, right? I mean, I've taken a brisket straight out of the HEB counter on a Friday morning and hit a first place with it Saturday night, right? And all the while, we've had other guys aging their briskets for 40 days and they don't walk. So my point is not that it isn't beneficial, because you still have to know what you're doing, right? So, but to the backyard guys, just all this aging and all this time spent, babying these pieces of meat isn't necessarily the answer to your question, because you can take any meat that you buy straight out of HEB. I don't care if it's 4 days old off the hoof, and you can make great barbecue out of it. I'm just saying, don't get hung up on all that nuance until you've been in the game a while. If you're an experienced competition cook and you've got 6 or 8 briskets in a spare fridge in the garage aging, and you know what you're doing, that's great. But don't think that that's what you have to do at home to make a great brisket for your Sunday dinner.
Nope.
Well, you can make a great brisket out of just knowing how to trim it properly. I mean, you go to someone's house and they're like, hey, I'm cooking this 20-pound brisket. What do you think? And to me, I'm like, well, there's about 8 pounds of fat in there that you can't eat. So understanding and knowing how to trim and how to work your way around a piece of meat makes a huge difference in the backyard, and especially in competition.
And you need to know how to slice it.
That's what I was going to say. You gotta
know how to slice it, because if you slice that brisket wrong, it's going to be dry and tough.
Yeah, that was going to be my point too. Is trimming, and then after you finish product, you got to know how to cut that thing. And there's a point on a brisket where you got to turn it the other way. Between your flat and your point, and that's going to be a huge difference in the way your brisket chews. The way it tastes.
Excellent. Now, one of the questions we had was, what do you do? What do you do? All right. Now, I'm going to choose another one. Man, Dogfather, you are killing it, man. You are killing it. which competition do you look at as being the one?
You're gonna get the
Me
same answer
is
on all
And
these.
why?
me is smoking on the Rio. You know, that's held in Mercedes, Texas. That is my hometown. It's always probably the second biggest cook-off in the state of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So that, I mean, me winning that one, you know, that would be awesome. But that's mine right there. Smoking on the Rio, Mercedes, Texas, my hometown. You know, that's where I graduated. I lived over there, so that would be mine right there.
For me, it's got to be the San Antonio Rodeo. I've never won it. We've done well at it in different categories. We've had a third place brisket, had a couple of rib walks. I know Darwin and CJ have both won it, but that's something that for us is it's the largest cook-off in Texas, I believe, one of the largest in the United States, and that's one we always look forward to. We're really
Bill,
on the show,
Bill,
you know.
what do you have, Bill?
I mean, American Royal's on my list.
Man.
You know? American
Woo!
Royal's on my
Hey,
list.
you're getting there, brother.
So, but I mean, San Antonio Rodeo, I haven't cooked it, you know, but just because it's gotten so, what did it sell out in like 15 minutes the last time it was on? I mean, it was like, that's, to me, that's definitely probably the premier cook-off. I don't know if there's any cook-off in Texas that sells out that fast. You know?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the premier ones as well that I'd like to eventually cook, you know. But I think it keeps getting more and more expensive every year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And for me, because we've won San Antonio Rodeo, the one that I am really shooting for, man, is Houston.
Houston, yeah.
And it was a huge disappointment this year when they finally pulled the plug on this year because we've got a chance to cook it again. Cooked it in 2016, and man, crap. I crapped an egg.
So
And,
you'll be on Champions Road next year,
yeah,
right?
yes. So I'm definitely looking for redemption.
Right?
Yeah, we. I'm taking
Oh, this dude invited everybody. You coming with me? You coming?
My biggest one is it's probably gonna be the rodeo too. I've won, Liz have won, Heather's won. We've done good in the Texas Point Chase, but I've never gotten a black ribbon. I've got a bunch of black ribbons, but not for any of the top 3 meets, and that's my biggest one.
All right, and I can tell you don't have one because you call them ribbons instead of banners.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Yeah,
My name is on the IBC trophy though. My name.
now, guys, I will tell you, Brian Kemper, Leftovers, won a massive money added event. It's the IBCA Invitational.
Oh yeah.
Massive. I think it was like almost 300 teams.
Yeah.
Right? And he brought home that grand champion trophy.
Yeah, traveling trophy, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Needless to say, at that one, I came home empty-handed. But for me, man, if one of my buddies can bring it home, if I can't bring it home, I hope it's one of my buddies.
Yeah, I agree. One of the family.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would celebrate just as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would celebrate just as hard.
I
Yeah,
think for,
and you know what? One of my top favorite cook-offs of everything was San Antonio Rodeo. And the one year that I got a call and Clarence got a call, like, you know, here me and one of my best bros got a top 10 call and got one of those black and gold banners. You know, that was it. And then the next year, Tom came in and cooked. And when all 3 of us got a call,
Yeah, that was special.
that just made it for me. I mean, because when you boys, you know, and I got the picture of the 3 of us and I've been tempted to make it my profile picture, but I know them assholes gonna clown, so I ain't gonna do it.
Hey, might as well. You put it once a month.
They're going to clown anyway, CJ. They're going to clown anyway.
I know. But, on a serious note, for you guys that are out there, I mean, y'all need to hit Clarence up. I took Clarence's class. Everybody, they told y'all how they got started, but my first year of cooking, I took Clarence's class. And right after his class, boom, I got my first brisket cone.
CJ never let me take his class. He just let me open the bathroom door, man. He said, come at 5 and open the bathroom door. That's all you get, man. I said, okay, that's cool, man. Well, I'll open the bathroom door for you guys. No problem.
Hey, Darwin. Darwin, to be honest, 5 years later, he's still waiting for me to pay for that class.
Where's the trumpet master? Hey, I think we're showing backyarders some love. We're showing backyarders.
Yeah, we
some
are.
love. Where do we bash a backyard cook? Come on, trumpet master.
I've always been a backyard cook, not a competition cook. I'm a backyard cook
We're
first.
all backyard cooks.
Yeah, we're all backyard cooks.
We just happen to do a couple.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I want to hear from you, trumpet master. What can I do to step my backyard game up?
Yeah. Hey, so Bill, you got a YouTube channel, don't you, Bill?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Go check it out. What's his name? James Pavia. I know he's watching. I've been watching his videos. Bill's got some videos where he's got some brisket trimmings. CJ's got some videos, man. Subscribe to those videos, man. And you got a lot of information in there, man. These guys on trimming briskets, ribs, chicken. I mean, shoot, this is some good stuff right there, man. I'm telling you.
All right, I got something to add about classes. I got nothing against classes. I think CJ's class is top notch. There's a lot of other great ones out there. But I want everyone to understand you do not have to take a class to learn. Because I did not.
Correct.
I cooked and 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 I cooked over and over and over again, hundreds of times until I figured it out. So if you don't want to take a class, you can't afford to take a class. Classes offend you because there's people out there that just are.
Oh yeah,
offended.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you don't have to. Just cook, and every day that you cook, enjoy your day. Have fun, and just learn from what you did one day and apply it to the next day. You do not have to take a class to become a great, accomplished barbecue cook. You do not.
Yeah, I've never taken a class either, and a lot of the stuff that we learned with Alvin was with the old boards and stuff, where I learned a lot, and just going and helping in a judging area. I think that's probably just as good as a class, and it's free. And also, like Tom said on YouTube channels, that's the new boards of the old days. You can learn anything on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information out there, and that's
a lot of good tips, man. Like I said, Bill, Jane, CJ, Artie Tex, there's a bunch of different ones. There's YouTube stuff that you can check out.
There's some Dr. Smoke notes out there too.
One thing that a lot of guys have to they can't be afraid of constructive criticism.
Thank you.
Because You sit there and you're cooking for your neighbors, your family, and everything, and they swear up and down your food is good. And then you think you can cook, because I did it myself, and I went out on the barbecue circuit. I found out real quick, no, I can't barbecue, I can grill. And when they give you constructive criticism, don't take it personal, because if you do, you're never going to get better. You got your friends that are going to tell you, oh yeah, it's good. And you keep thinking that your food is good, but you go to a competition and you're not getting any walks, you're sitting in your seat, competition after competition, and then someone that cooks on a regular basis gives you a little bit of constructive criticism and you're taking it personal. And then now you're like, well, he don't know what he's talking about.
And don't cook beer chicken either.
Yeah.
Hey, do not ever bring a damn bear can chicken to a
Right?
and then add teriyaki to it.
Hey.
I'm not gonna call any names.
That chicken,
bright red letters on his shirt.
That chicken was good, and I was mad as hell when I didn't get a call. No, San Antonio Rodeo, 280-something teams.
He wasted the middle of life.
I just knew I was getting ready to get a top 10 call.
Hey, you still have that DAL banner?
Hey, and when I didn't even get a final table, I'm like, man, they cheating.
No, but springboarding off of what CJ was talking about there. I'm sorry, Kevin. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kevin.
Man, my first competition, I had a margarita, tequila, lime chicken that I thought was just going to rule the world. No, it didn't. It didn't. I ain't never cooked it since.
But springboarding off of what CJ was talking about, if you're going to go ask a competition cook his opinion or her opinion about your rib and then be offended when they tell you what they think of it,
Shut up, Tom.
don't bother asking, because I won't even taste food anymore. I'm people, hey, Giant, taste my rib and tell me what you think. I say, man, I'm sorry, man. I've eaten 5 ribs already. I'm full. Because so many times I've tasted a rib and said, hey, man, I think it's a little dry. I think it's this. I think it's that. And people get offended.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, you asked. If you really want to step up your game, you best pay attention.
Man, I think it's a big thing too, is just listening. If you listen to cooks, you'll find out a lot of information.
Absolutely.
I think there was one time, I don't know if you remember, Clarence, but it was at Uvalde. I was helping Fong. I hadn't actually started cooking under my own name yet. I was just there helping Fong, and you came by and you tasted his rib, and you told Fong it needs to be a little more tender. That it just needed to be a little bit more tender. So obviously I tasted the rib or whatever, but you just listen to everything around you, and you can learn a lot just by listening.
Yeah.
Even if they're not talking to you,
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, a great example is this cook came over with some au jus in the turkey baster and made Tom suck on it at a competition. And that is when I knew that competition cooks were willing to go the extra mile for their sucking on another man's turkey baster. Au jus in it. I'm not going to mention names or anything. But Tom, if you want to expand on that, feel free.
Dude, I'm gonna unsubscribe her ass.
Bill,
hey,
listen to me. Tom was sucking on the damn turkey baster, and the dude was squeezing it. I didn't know what. I was like, what in the hell is going on here? Yeah, I'm not gonna call the name. Bright red letters on his shirt. Right? Yeah. Hey,
And you said in the early.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, hey, but you know what? Hey, it's like Arnie say, make it work.
Make it
Because,
work. Yeah.
hey, because you know what? A buddy of mine, his brisket au jus all leaked out of his brisket, and this
Miller
fool
Lite.
put some Miller Lite in a damn. I don't know what he did, but he got a call and he GC'd that damn competition. I ain't calling no names though.
I can tell you right now, I finished third in brisket, and his ass finished second brisket with that Miller Lite au jus. And that's
Hey, and you know what? Hey, and not to mention the time he dropped his tray on the ground, and then
I did not drop it. The wind blew my table over.
And then he went and got the pieces that he thought was absolute crap, and turned them in. You know, because he wasn't gonna even turn anything in. They're like, no, turn it. So he got what he thought was crap, turned it in, and got a damn brisket call.
I tell you, last weekend down in Kingsville when we did that CBA, Kit Polk dropped his brisket box right in front of turn-in, and he put it on a hood of a car right in front of turn-in and was reorganizing all of his slices. He had some kind of little mail pouch that he was using for his carrier. And he dropped, I mean, his slices were all messed up. They were all fall forward. Kit Polk sit there and reorganized everything, boxed it, turned it in. He hit first place brisket.
Yeah.
Wow. Guys, that's one of the things I really want to impress on new cooks. Unless you know that your product is raw, put something in that box and turn it in.
You got
Turn it in.
That's the one thing. I will not knowingly place a raw product in my box, but a burnt product, a product that I brushed the grass off of, I'm gonna put it in that box.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I dropped the
in that
brisket.
box, you never know what's gonna happen.
I dropped the brisket in Cuero one year, years ago. It was really windy out. And I had one of those plastic trays, you know, the what we cut the meat on, you know, the lunch trays. And that wind caught my lunch tray, and that brisket went face down in the sand. And I rinsed it off, and I sliced it up, and I got first place brisket, and I got grand champion at that cook-off. What else did I do?
So they like the grit down there. Huh?
Yeah, it was like the terroir of that neighborhood or something.
Another great cook was Kelly Curtis, and he would post pictures of his chicken, and you would just look at that chicken like, what the hell is that you're turning in? And, you know, it would be burnt, skin split, everything, and that guy would win, and it's all about flavor, because if you're in a competition, once it goes through the first round, if you go help in the judging area, you know that once it goes through the first round, when those knives hit it, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's got to taste good, you know. And good food is good food, no matter what.
Oh, Kevin had one of them chickens kick some ass.
Yeah. Lauren made some fresh bread tonight. So that's what she keeps on feeding me, this fresh baked bread she made. That's what I'm chewing on, if everyone wants to know. I just can't stop eating this stuff. It's fantastic.
Hey guys, real quick. We've got the trumpet master again. Hey, trumpet master, thank you for your questions, man. We appreciate it.
Who's got a radio on?
And someone's mic's on the delay.
Yeah, somebody's mic.
Everyone needs to mute their microphones because we're getting this echo back and forth. So if everyone would mute their mics, except whoever wants to talk.
I think somebody's watching YouTube, watching it on both screens, this screen and the other screen.
Yeah, that's better than whoever did.
If they mute
the question is, flavor is flavor, but when is flavor bad for you? The injections we use are seriously salty, not to mention all the multiple spices you dump on the same cut of meat. Trumpet master, I'll go first. I understand what you're saying, but you've got to find a balance. I don't know whose competition barbecue you may have tasted, but I'm sure cooks can overdo things, both in the backyard as well as in competition. But while for me, I agree, a competition piece of meat is too rich for my liking. Uh, I don't think that the majority of competition meats are overly salty or overly injected. You got some novice cooks that will over inject or use too much of their
Yeah.
injection, but the quality cooks, those cooks that win consistently, they found that gentle balance of injections and salts and sweet to create that middle of the road product that judges are looking for. Help me out, guys.
I have something to say. When if you do a competition, you got to remember that there's 6 or 7 judges sitting at a table, and tasting 20 to 25, and they get one bite of your brisket. So you've got to make that competition brisket stand out. It's got to be strong, and it's they got to remember that brisket because they're comparing that brisket to the if you're first on the table or if you're last on the table, they're comparing that brisket. Even though they're not supposed to, they're comparing that brisket. It's natural for them to do it. So competition meats are always going to be stronger than something you cook in the backyard.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And another thing, one of the best few pieces of meats I've cooked, brisket and pork butt, have both been salt and pepper only, and oak smoke, either post oak or blackjack, which is what I've been a fan of for many years. And those are several of the finest cooks I've ever done in my backyard, not competition. But competition also, Brian is probably right 80% of the time. But I've tasted a lot of competition cooks brisket or ribs, especially brisket. And a lot of the current winning briskets are not over the top seasoned and salty. They're a whole lot more like pot roast, in my opinion. So if you get salty, and then all of a sudden get a nice, mellow, beefy piece of meat, like a piece of pot roast, that can take you a long way. So you don't necessarily have to over-season your meat. And I think I agree with you. It's very easy to overdo it. So
it's that middle of the road that CJ was talking about earlier. Is you just go for savory versus any salty or anything too sweet. Just something kind of middle of the road that, And I agree. You overcook your brisket for competition typically. Man, you got salt, pepper, and then all of a sudden you get one that just tastes like a piece of beef. That's pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember Darwin and one of the best. It was the Hope Fest, and I was helping you in the judging area. That one first piece ribs cooked a dry rib, and we'd never seen it. It was delicious.
I saw that. I cooked CBA, SCA.
That was that couple from Hondo.
Yeah.
And it was salt and pepper with a little bit of sweet on top. And I'm talking like just a sprinkle of white sugar or something.
There was no sauce or nothing, but it was delicious.
It was fantastic. And they just hammered it, man. They got top scores, no doubt. Yeah, I'm glad you remember that because when I cook ribs at home, that's actually what I'm shooting for is that couple's ribs out of Hondo.
Yeah.
Those things were fantastic, and they were very simple, very plain, and they were.
That was a competition that was like 20 or 30 teams, and if that rib would have sat at a table for 3 or 4 more rounds, it probably wouldn't have been good, because it would have dried out and whatever. So
yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
CJ, what was that comment about SDA?
No, he said if he was a certified judge, That was the dog father. He said if he was a certified judge, he would no longer do so after we talked about dropping and washing off meats.
You don't want to know all the stuff that goes down, man. You don't want to know.
Man, you
Yeah, I
should
would
know
love
before we could see it.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey,
I've
CJ,
heard more horror stories, I'll tell you what.
I got a question for you, man. So, you've been competing for years and stuff, man. And what made you bring this or create this YouTube channel, man? Because I'm telling you, man, you're killing it. 1,300 subscribers in not a long time. You're doing something good. You're providing a lot of good information. So it looks like you're doing something good there.
Tom, he's just a sexy man. That's all. You know that.
It's got to be the beer, man.
I appreciate you fellas, man. As last year started, we started off with 3 straight GCs, man. I really thought we were in for we were primed for an awesome year. And COVID kicked in and just shut everything down. Prior to that, my boy, and it's a great question, Tom. My boy Eric, Rolling Grills out of Georgia. You've seen him on Pit Masters and everything else. He and I sat down at Pleasanton, years ago. And he talked to me about his YouTube channel and how I could use my classes and my experience, my ability to teach into YouTube. And I listened to him and I was like, man, that's something I might be interested in. But I never pulled the trigger. Fast forward to March of last year. COVID has kicked in, everything is shut down. I'm sort of fiending. I'm sort of jonesing for cooking. 3 straight GCs. I mean, I'm primed. We're primed for a great year. So look at the book, man, and there was nothing. And I just thought about it. I said, now's the time. Now's the time. And I will tell you, as the months passed with my YouTube channel, I found that I wasn't so much missing competition barbecue.
You're missing cooking.
Yeah, I was absolutely missing cooking. And the things that I was doing here at the house, making the videos, sort of fill that void. And man, it is really taking, I think it's really taking my cooking up a notch, up a level, because now I'm doing things that in the past I haven't been comfortable doing. You know, I'm doing a lot of braised meats, and everything I do, I try to somehow 90% of the times I try to somehow get it done on the grill, or I mix the grill in. You know, I plan on cooking everything from aardvark to zebra. All right, so so penguins, you better watch out because I'm coming for you. I am coming for you. So at some point, there's going to be a little bit of something of everything on Mom and Papa Joe's YouTube channel, man. Be on the lookout. The wife and I, we're going to continue doing what we do. And we appreciate all you guys who will subscribe, who continue to watch, and absolutely appreciate the encouragement we get from my fellow cooks and everything. I love you guys, man. I appreciate it.
I'm deleting you after tonight. I'm unsubscribing after this show.
How come you never had a guest? You never had a guest on there. You got all your boys here.
Yeah, man. You know what? I hear you every time I talk to you.
Bill was the guest.
Often and sneezing, I'm like, ooh, he got that damn roller right there. So
I got vaccinated.
Yeah. Hey, at some point we're gonna do a serious collaboration, man. Here at the house, I've got enough pits We're gonna all cook something right here. I've already been working on the format. We're all gonna cook something right here in the house. And we'll make a YouTube video, Mom and Papa Joe's. Chicken fried. I know you're a long ways away.
Cooking penguin.
Yeah, but the rest of these guys are right here in my neck of the woods, and we're gonna make that happen at some point. Stay tuned, folks.
Hey, I'm your man. I'm your man when it comes to beer can chicken.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Yeah.
I took a mean beer can chicken.
I think we've all cooked beer can chicken.
All right.
Oh, there's no doubt. We all have. We just won't admit it.
Hey, right here, Texas style cuisine. Oh man, I ran into this dude on YouTube. He and I have become pretty tight. Johnny, I appreciate you, bro. Great input right here. Chicken Fried has a great YouTube channel. Right?
Yep.
Guys, and this leads me to my next question. Bill, what made you get into YouTube?
Well, I got into YouTube before I started doing competitions.
Okay.
So I had a YouTube channel, and I first started filming my bow hunts. So I was bow hunting a lot, and I would film me shooting the animals, mainly for tracking, and then I could show it to my friends and whatnot. But and I've been buddies with Fong for a long time. But for whatever reason, I was sitting around the house and thought, well, I'll start filming some of these cooks because I've been cooking in the backyard, for a number of years. I mean, I think I cooked my first brisket when I was 22 years old. So I've been cooking a long time, but I eventually thought, well, instead of doing the hunting videos, because you have to go out and actually do a hunt to get content, I thought it'd be easier just to do some cooking videos. So I started doing those and then thought, well, if I'm going to do YouTube videos about cooking, maybe I should go out and do some competitions to really see how my food stacked up against other competitors. And like most people, I got a reserve brand at like a little unsanctioned cook-off. But my first couple of IBCAs was, maybe a final table 17th chicken or something like that. So I quickly saw that. Let me kind of pause the YouTube a little bit, try to focus in on actually competitions, and actually started enjoying doing competitions more than messing around with the YouTube. So I've kind of laid off the YouTube quite a bit. I have the channel, but I think I did some videos with COVID. When COVID came around, I did some videos, but I need to get back on and do some more videos. I thought about going live at some of the competitions, just when I'm putting my ribs in the box or something, just doing YouTube live or something like that, just to kind of change things up, but I don't want it to mess up my competition.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And part two of my question, because none of the other guys on this panel got YouTube. What?
Yeah, you porn.
Yeah. What?
I got red.
Latino right there. Bill, as you're watching other videos on YouTube, what makes you give a thumbs down to a video?
I don't know that I've ever actually given a thumbs down.
Maybe a dog barking, your neighbor's dog barking or something.
I mean, if I get into a video and I don't like it, I usually just get off the video,
Dude, that is so easy to do. And I'm gonna tell you what led to this question is when you put everything you got into a video and man, you finish editing and everything, and you're like, oh man, this is on point right here. And then somebody gives you a thumbs down without telling you why.
Right.
I will tell you, my first one or two kind of bothered me. I was like, what the heck? Why?
Right.
And as the months passed, we've been at this 5-6 months, and as time passed, I sort of relaxed and realized that all right, there's some people out there that that have been hired to give thumbs down.
Well, too, and I think some of it is too, Clarence. I mean, you've got a big reputation in the competition world. You know, maybe not on YouTube yet, but just in the competition world, everybody knows who you are. And everybody knows you're an outstanding cook. And I think to some degree, with that, along the way, whether it's people jealous or whatever, or haters, they get developed,
Jealousy. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And maybe it's just some haters out there that, and maybe, remember when we did the Pitmaster thing?
Yeah, yeah.
We were doing all the Pitmaster and you could see who kind of voted for who.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard different people.
Yeah.
There were some hurt feelings on that too.
Yeah.
But I heard people saying that, like there were certain people that I knew that were in there and they thought these people, they weren't even connected to the barbecue community. People they knew, family members that they knew were going in and voting for the other Pitmaster when they knew there was no way that their circle of friends knew that other Pitmaster. There were just some haters, So
Haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate.
And I think I mark up when I get like dislikes on my videos, I assume it's haters that are, some people are just, I'm sure you can feel different haters that you've seen at competitions,
I hate that some bitch shit.
I mean, well, when you think about it,
trolls out there, man. There's trolls all over the place on YouTube.
when you think about it, you've seen videos. We've all seen videos on like Facebook. I mean, just excellent videos, with parents being with their children, just doing something great. And there's always someone that hates it.
Yep.
Always criticizing. It don't matter what it is. There's always going to be criticism from that one person.
You know what, CJ? On my pole dancing YouTube channel, I get thumbs downs all the time, and I hate it, man.
I will tell you.
You keep falling.
I found a way to give you 2 thumbs down. Hey, I want to welcome James. Right, Aiming and claiming.
What's up, man?
What's going on, fellas?
I want to give James a serious shout out, man. I wasn't yet into the collaboration field, and one day, I just watching my subscription count, and I noticed some activity that I in forever. I mean, my subscriber count was just jumping, and I was like, "What in the hell is going on?" And come to find out, James had given me a little plug on his channel, and man, the guy's got some influence. He's got some awesome videos out there. He's doing the thing. Product reviews, good cooking. So welcome, James, man. I appreciate you for everything you've done for the brother, man. Thank you so much. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me, man. Just FYI, my internet might be a little choppy. I'm out at an event doing some cooking right now. Managing some pits for this Operation Barbecue Relief that we're doing here in Central Texas. So I'm on my iPhone, so if the internet is a little choppy, I apologize for that, but I wasn't planning on jumping on. I saw the message you sent, CJ. I was a little busy, but wanted to try to hop on here for a bit. So thank you for having me. And it's like kind of barbecue roll here. What's up, Brother Tom, Brother Bill?
You know the deal. Hey, James and I met, man, I don't know how many years ago. I don't even know. Man, I'll tell you, this is how foolish I was. I would see James at different events, and he'd have his camera, and he'd be walking around filming. And I was like, he's filming. I never once knew he had a YouTube channel that he was putting all this stuff on. So I've gone back and looked at those videos he put out there. And man, I said, I've been a YouTube star for a little while now without getting any payment. So James owed me a couple of dollars. I'm telling you that.
I've been following James for a while. And, I found his channel one day, just, scrolling through some stuff. And So I started clicking on some of his videos, and surprisingly, we are in some of James's videos.
Oh, you guys, both CJs. If you look at any of my comp videos, and if you guys were at that same comp, you're both of you are in probably every video.
Hey,
You must be desperate, man. You must
yeah.
Did your subscribers take a hit?
It's like a Make-A-Wish Foundation type of deal.
And I was surprised. I was like, man, he giving us props. The dude actually say he called me a good cook. I'm like, man, what? Did somebody pay him to say that?
Hey, yeah,
Most likely.
you gotta watch the humble one. You want to see me dancing?
Oh yeah, Tom's in there. Drew,
Yeah.
where's it? You in here, Drew? It's one of the Team Tito's members. We're out here cooking in here in Buda. With Operation Barbecue Relief and a few other organizations. Anyway, that was Brother Drew, one of our Team Tito's members, who's been out here all day long cooking. So he wanted to make an appearance, but that's Brother Drew.
Well, I see a question here that said, if y'all had to pick the best barbecue competitor, but you can't pick yourself, who would y'all pick it? I would say it would be Ronnie Wade.
Oh, Ronnie.
Ronnie Wade, hands down, is the best cook in Texas as far as competition goes. He has had the most success of anyone that I know of. He's had well over 150 grand champions, and he's a really humble man, good guy, great cook. And yeah, that's who I would say.
I would say the same too. I mean, before Facebook, before YouTube, before all these classes came up, Ronnie was killing it. And he figured it out. He figured it out before anybody did. And he's always going to be on top.
Yep.
See, I haven't been cooking as long as you guys, so I don't know who Ronnie is. I've heard him. I've heard his name. I've met a lot of but it's hard to pick someone. There are just too many cooks out there that are just. I mean, they're on a level that when you to me the way I see it. All of these guys that are on the screen right now, for me to be able to compete against these guys, trust me, I'm honored. I'm like, I look at it like, hey, that to me, is I don't know. I just can't, I really can't, explain it.
You can look at it from both sides too. I mean, because now you have like Bill and CJ. They're going against all the classes and they're going against all the YouTube people. So too, I mean, they're starting at CJ's won the rodeo twice. Bill's on fire with just about everything he cooks now, and they're up against everybody everybody taking all these classes, and they've already taken. They've watched the YouTube videos, they've watched everything they can. So I mean, it can go both ways. You can look at it from both ends of it, but yeah.
And Tony mentioned it can be anybody from any state, man. When you start talking about the Darrens and the Stones and the Craig Sperry and the Darren Hoel, the Fred Robles,
Canterbury's,
Honest the Golder, the Canterbury's, Ronnie and Michelle. The list could go on and on and on. And to pick somebody with doing it injustice to another person just as great a cook as that individual. So, man, I am not going to even venture out there and pick a person. I just want you to know that pound for pound, I think some of the best cooks are right here in Texas. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, that goes without a doubt. I mean, you've seen that, at the Royal. You get a bunch of cooks that, that are usually sticking here, that are used to cooking IBCA. and they go to the Royal. And the past several years, the Texas boys have been killing it at the Royal. I mean, so it to me, I mean, it's just too tough to like pick one individual. I can't do it.
Yeah, I think Texas is full of amazing cooks, and like I said, you couldn't, even that thing they did with 60 pit masters, they still left so many people out, that are outstanding cooks. So,
Well, the way I look at events like that, it's more like an exhibition. And I'm not taking anything away from anyone who participates in anything like that. But you're right. There's so many people out there, that are worthy of that. It just becomes an exhibition. It becomes a form of entertainment, and that's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. But you have to keep it in perspective that just because you're invited to an event like that, there are other people out there that are as good. But yeah, it's cool.
But any Saturday can be anybody's. I mean, it doesn't. It could be. It's like football. Any given Sunday, any Saturday could be anybody.
Well, guys, I'm ready to get ready for bed. I'm headed off. I got to get to work tomorrow morning. So y'all have a good night. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, and I just want to say good night.
And we're at that 2-hour mark, folks. I want to really thank all you guys, man. The panel, as well as the audience. Our first one, man, like I told you in the beginning, it's a learning process. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better in moderating these things and getting some of the questions answered. If I did not get to your question tonight, stick with me. I'm going to hit everybody up at some point, man. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Hey, panel members, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And I hope to have you back again next week. Hopefully, we're doing this again next week, man. You guys take care.
Man. Thanks, Clarence. Appreciate it, guys.
Not all. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, man, appreciate you bringing me on.
Yes, thank you.
Look at Brian's eyes.
Y'all still live right now? You still live?
I've hit